here today to talk to you about the relationship between choking and leadership. We know that performance happens on a spectrum, where most of the time we're performing within our range of our technical skill set, our physical skill set, but sometimes we perform well outside that range. Think about on the upper end, being in the zone, totally unconscious, things moving really slowly. As a coach, as an athlete, or a parent, you've seen or you've been in that experience where things happen easily and naturally. Think a golfer shooting an entire round under 60, or a baseball player hitting 4 home runs or a game, or a swimmer crushing their best time they've ever crushed. And then all the way on the other end, that dreaded experience of choking, underperforming when the lights are brightest, an inability to bring their best self when their perception is, hey, this should be easy. This is something I've done a million times. Think a basketball player with the game on the line needing to make just 1 of 2 free throws and they don't perform. Think about a golfer with a 3-foot putt to win a tournament and he leaves it short. Something that he's done or she's done thousands, if not tens of thousands of times, and when the performance is under most pressure and the lights are brightest, we don't show up. So what do we actually know about the experience and the science of choking? We know that performance happens across 3 areas. Mentally, we need to be locked in and focused on the right thing at the right time, having positive self-talk, getting our focus and our mindset where it needs to be in order to accomplish the task. Emotionally, we need to feel confident. Physically, we know that we need our body to respond and be in a state where we can go and execute. When choking occurs, none of those things happen. We're overthinking, we're flooded with doubt, we're flooded with uncertainty. Physically, we tense up. It's literally the exaggerated version of that fight or flight response where we might freeze. Think a wide receiver with a wide open touchdown. All he has to do is catch the ball and it drops because his or her hands tighten up. So our body's not in a position to execute at the level that we know we're capable of because our perception of the situation, we've done this 1,000 times, this should be easy, but we put too much pressure on ourselves. Our mind's not in the right spot, it's not focused on the right thing at the right time, our emotions are not in the right spot, we might feel anxious, we might feel overwhelmed or overloaded, and ultimately our body is not in a state to perform at the level we know it can perform at. Now, as athletes, as coaches, as parents, an easy acronym to remember to set our athletes and our coaches up for success is LEAD. So L stands for language. What type of language do we want to have in our culture and our team with respect to failure, with respect to expectation? Knowing that, hey, but when you make a mistake, you're going to be supported. You're going to be sent right back out there. So we want to develop a culture and a language of acceptance and recognizing that failure and not being perfect is okay and it's understandable. It's part of our experience as being human. E, can we empathize and can we empower our athletes? We're only human. We're not going to be robots. We're not going to execute at a high level all the time. Mistakes and failure are going to happen. And sure, when it's something that we've done 1,000 times and we don't show up, does it hurt? Of course it hurts. But can we put our arm around our teammate? Can we put our arm around ourselves? Can our coach put an arm around our athlete and say, hey, get him next time. You're going to be there. A, acceptance. Accepting that, again, we're not robots and we're not going to perform perfectly all the time. And in many cases, when we're working with youth athletes or high school athletes or college athletes, they're not professional. They're going to fail. And especially when they perceive that pressure to be highest and brightest, they might get flooded. They might focus on the wrong thing at the wrong time. Their body's not in a state to perform. So can we accept that they're humans, that they're kids, they're people before they're athletes? And ultimately, the D in the acronym LEAD stands for develop. Can we develop our athletes in a way where they feel empowered and they want to be in that moment where the pressure's brightest, where the game's on the line? And can we develop practice plans where we set up environments where there's a little more perceived pressure for the athlete? If you sink 1 of these 2 free throws, we don't have to do conditioning after the game. If you swim your fastest race right here in practice, we get weights off tomorrow. Where there's a little bit of impetus, where they perceive that, hey, this is bigger than a normal free throw shooting routine. So we know that choking occurs. We know that athletes are going to experience this, but as coaches and as leaders and as parents and as teammates, we can set up an environment where we minimize the chance for that experience, and not if, but when it does, we know that they're going to come back, and the next time they're in that situation, their mind's going to be in the right place.